I do know this. If the wind gets above 12, 15 miles an hour, you're not going to have to worry about mirage because you won't see it. The wind's going to take it away. If you're the shooter here and your target is over here, okay, and you have a valley under here, you shoot from one hillside to another, you have no ground in front of the target, you have no ground in front of you. You're not going to have mirage. Mirage is the temperature change and density of the air. You will see it when you have hot ground versus cool air, or if you have cool ground from the night and the sun comes out and you have hot air, that gives you the mirage. Okay. Now let's say that you're shooting and here's the shooter, and in front of that shooter he's got ground, and then it goes away, comes up here at the target. This amount of ground here, say you got 20, 30 yards or whatever it might be, you got a problem. I don't want to tell you now. That is the worst mirage that you're going to get to affect you shooting. Not only are you going to see that target dancing, you're going to see maybe two targets. And you're going to like, which do I want to shoot at? So you really have to learn and know and understand it to be able to do that. I have never had to shoot in that type of mirage, but I know that it's there and I know about it. Now let's say you take it the other way around, and you have nothing here. You come over here and ooh, you got a lot of ground in front of your target now. No problem. No sweat. It's just about like you have your scope set up and adjusted for that distance, whatever the target is. And then you bring your scope back, say you got it on 36 power, and you bring it back to 25 power. You can still see the target, right? But it's going to be blurry. So in effect, that's what you're going to have here. It's just going to be, blurry, but it's still going to be there. It ain't moving. It's not changing sight. What you're seeing is what you see. You just don't see it as well. It's like looking through a fogged up glass. Okay? That ain't bad. That's okay to shoot. I've shot in that before, and most of the time when you're shooting, you have the mirage is going to be from the ground, and in most cases, like here, it would be all the way to the target. 200 yards sometimes here, the mirage can get really bad. I'd still rather have that than have it here. That's a waste of board. Waste of boarding. That's about it. We were talking about the Coriolis effect. Well, we all know that the Earth is rotating around its axis. And the Earth's moving at 1,000 miles an hour. So, people who are shooting 1,000 yards, snipers, they would need to know this. You and I, we don't need to know this. But it's fact, if you shoot your gun from north and south, 1,000 yards, and then you turn around and you shoot, say south, 1,000 yards, and you zero your gun in, and you're not going to get that 1.06 that he's got there, but let's say you get at 1,000 yards and you get a nice group. You can sight your gun in to be hitting in the bullseye in both directions, and they're going to be the same. What's going to happen if you decide to shoot east and west, 1,000 yards? You're going to shoot 1,000 yards west, turn right around, put your gun back and shoot 1,000 yards east. What do you think will happen? Where will your impact be?
Target rises from the west and sinks to the east.
Yeah, the Earth's rotating eastwardly, just like your winds are also going eastwardly. It affects airplanes. How does it affect airplanes going west versus east? They gotta fight that wind going west, right? They use more gas, takes more time. Okay. So you shoot west at 1,000 yards, my God, I'm 7 inches low. You turn around and you shoot east, and I'm 3 inches high. We don't have to worry about that. If you're a sniper, you might. So I'm sure, I hope they teach them that. I'm sure they do. Well, what's happening there? The Coriolis effect on that bullet. Well, it's like they said, the bullet left the earth. Well, that made me think. If the bullet left the earth and it caused it, the earth like coming over it, caused it to drop 7 inches, and if you bring this up, different places that you bring it up, you're going to get a different figure. So don't hold me to the 7 inches of the 3 inches, but there is a big difference. That's the point I'm trying to make. So I don't want to.
Is it the amount of time that the bullet travels from the muzzle to the target? Is the effect of how long? If it, I guess I'm saying if we're shooting at 3,000 feet a second, as compared to shooting at 2,000 feet a second.
Oh, yes. That's going to have the same effect it would have on everything else.
Right.
Yeah. That would have effects.
Slower bullet, it's going to rise
Yeah,
more. The target's going to come up and where you're going to be.
Yeah, and you're going to be shooting lower. Yeah. So if you get different readings and different people saying something different, then they're possibly talking about different velocities than what I read. I didn't.
Is Harry
know this.
Is Harry Jones east and west, or is it north and south?
Me?
I don't know.
Yeah. Where does that target?
Anybody wants coffee? There's coffee over there and some cookies. I didn't buy them for nothing. Okay, so that's the effect it's going to have on it. So, I got to thinking, well, God, that's hell. Hey, yeah, I just get my plane and get up in the air, get that thing airborne and let the earth come around me, and I'll be in California and just come right back down. That's as far as I got. Don't work that way, but I don't understand that part of it. I really don't, so I'll not try to explain it, but it's different. It does affect the bullet. They said it's like it left the earth. Well, if it left the earth, why can't I just take my plane, get up there and leave the earth for a minute? Just something to think about. I've thought about it, or I wouldn't say it. Okay, so I've got through this.
Load and ammo and cases and powder.
Let's see.
You got next.
Okay, so let's get to the. Let's go ahead and finish off the effects on the 22 bullet at different velocities, and as we had said before, everybody knows, and it's pretty understanding that the longer a bullet's in the air and the more mass it has, the more effect the wind will have upon it, so far as drift or movement. Well, that's not always the case. In the case of a 22, this you're not going to believe. A lot of you are going to shake your head on this, but now, so the faster something moves, the faster it's going to get to the target, and the less wind is going to affect it. So the slower it gets there, the more chance it has to blow it away. That is true in most every case, except I'm going to tell you, it is not true with a rimfire cartridge. Remember that plane when he broke the sound barrier? Well, a 22 is in that range where it can be below and above the sound barrier. Therefore, you ain't gonna believe this, a 22 subsonic rimfire will move at 50 yards, 0.094. you speed that bullet up to now where you get into the 1150s, above the sound of speed, it's going to move at 0.99, almost an inch. I have always told everybody that at 50 yards, that bullet will move an inch. It's not exactly an inch, but it's very close to it. Now you say, well, what about 100 yards? You go to 100 yards, and the slower velocity bullet will move 4 inches, 0.15. Whereas the faster 22 bullet, a high velocity bullet, going probably 200 or 300 feet faster, it will move at 5.23 inches. It's quite a bit, Moves them both, but it moves that high velocity more than it does. Why? It's sound barrier again. What happens when you break the sound barrier? Well, it disturbs the bullet. It disturbs the bullet to where it causes it to move or drift more than the one that's going slow. So what you want to do is you either want a bullet that's going to be under the speed of sound all the way to whatever you're shooting at, all the way to the target, or you want to keep it above the speed of sound all the way to the target. You're going to have less problems that way.
Is that why a lot of the 22 ammo that we get is 1080?
Well, remember, 32 miles, 32 degrees,
Right.
1081, I believe, is when that sound barrier
Right.
broke. So if you were shooting it in lower temperatures, you could have a problem.
Right.
That's why I go with the lower velocity, 1051 to 1055, and the ammo that I last got was half and half. So I keep it, I know that I'm gonna be safe whether I'm shooting it in the cold or not. So I come out here, I'm not worried about breaking the sound barrier, and I know that my bullet is gonna move less than somebody that's using a higher velocity than I'm using.
Can you tell them about, there are people out there that will let you custom order your ammo
Yeah.
and get it specific to the speed.
Ely is doing that now, and Ely Black Box is one that you can get just about whatever you want. Jeff, he gave me a box of CCIs. Well, I know that CCIs are 1071. That's the speed that they are, and I've always known that. Well, and it's a good cheap ammo, you know, for all purposes. It's pretty good. It's not as good as the Wolf, but it is pretty good. Well, one day he gave me a box, and I took it home, and I'm shooting. Well, I don't know why. I decided I was going to shoot some CCI. I'm shooting out there 50 yards, and I can't find my bullet. I can't find where I'm hitting. Well, instead of 1071, I was shooting ammo that was 720. 720 feet per second. That's really low, right? Couldn't find it.
That's
I was
the
shooting
only,
4
that's the
inches.
only way you can beat you.
Gravity was pulling it
I
down.
gave it to him to put it in a bag.
That's the only way, that's the only way you can beat you.
Well, I couldn't find it, but the reason why it was at the bottom of the paper, and it was 4 inches low. I remember it was about 4 inches low.
So the moral of that story is you don't take any ammo.
Well, the
from
moral
him.
of that story is that that was pretty good ammo. All I had to do was change my sights, and I shot a real nice group with ammo that only going 720 feet per second. So maybe the slower you get, the less wind you get. I don't know that. I'm not saying that for sure.
Okay, now I'm a little confused.
But at any rate, I still got some of it. I didn't shoot it. I'll quit right there. But I shot a real nice group with it. Matter of fact, here's some. This wasn't it. I know it wasn't, but I've got targets up here. I had some. I even took pictures of it. This is. I was shooting CCI, Wolf, and then Wolf, Ely, 1051. And you can see the groups actually CCI, that ain't too bad for CCI, cheap ammo. And then the Wolf, not too bad either. But the Ely, it measured 051, so went from 111, 170, 101 to, that's a 380 there, I think, to 051, so that wasn't too bad.
And that's the width of the group, right? That's the width of your group.
That's-
You need that telling me.
Yeah, that's the width of the 5-shot groups. These here are, when I go shooting to get a rifle shooting and tune it up, I sometimes will shoot at a whole bunch of these little orange stickers and put a little black dot in so I can find the center of it. In bench rest, we never shot. We had just 2 targets, sighter and a scoring target. I never shot in the center of my target. You got it anywhere in that ring, it's scored as a group. But if I shoot the center out of it, I got nothing to aim. I got no real true aiming point. So I always had my gun shooting off center a little bit so that I could just get a nice group and still keep my gun aimed right on the center. So nobody ever did that. They never tried to knock the center out of the target. But here we do. Here the object is to hit as close to the center as you can. Here's a game that, I don't know, Jeff might have went with me one night, but during wintertime it was fun to go on every Friday night. They have these shoots down past Harrisville somewhere. And we shoot at the targets at 100 feet, 33 1/3 meters or whatever, 100 feet with 22s. But you got very small targets there. And you got some with X's and different.
You win a lot of money when you can shoot.
Well, yeah. Well,
It's a money maker.
you can just pass this around, okay? So when you win one, then they circle it. If you win the one in the center, the way we put it, everybody puts $2 in.
Is that
You win-
Dale's?
That's down Dale's. If you shoot, if you get the center, then you get double. So, of course, everybody likes to get the center, but it's the last one that we usually shoot. And
But if you win all 5 of them,
if you,
there's a pot down there that's probably got $5 grand in it.
Well,
And nobody's
yeah.
ever hit all 5 of them.
nobody's ever done it, so they
They
decided to give it back to
every
the
year.
guy that's running the place to heat the building through the winter, so now they started another pot up, I believe. But the first time I ever shot there, I just bought a new Cooper to shoot, and Donnie Gump was with me. And he started me going down there. And we go down there and shoot. I got up and shot my 5 shots. And Donnie says, "Well, how'd you do?" I said, "I don't think I did too good. I'll be danged if I didn't win 3 out of the 5 matches of 20 people in there." The only 5 winners come out. And I won 3 out of 5 with the first time with that Cooper. The gun, it wasn't that great in the end. I know you got a Cooper. The gun wasn't the greatest target shooter. I mean, I got these that'll actually outshoot it.
And you don't shoot off the rest like that down there either, do you?
No, we don't, but sandbags, that's,
That's what I mean. One,
What distance was that, Bob?
that's only at 100 feet.
inside.
But I'll tell you what, you look at some of
Yeah, I
those,
couldn't
you say,
get the
man,
card at that.
he should have won that one there. But believe me, somebody beat it. You think you get that card back and you get to looking at it and you go, "Oh, I got a winner."
They score that with a
Somebody else.
magnifying glass.
Oh, yeah, they got big.
And I'm telling you,
magnifying glass
it
and
gets
plugs.
down to the bullet is .224, and you're getting down, if you're .2247, you might be out of the money.
Sometimes,
Son of a- God, I hit 5 in a row down there and couldn't win, 5 bullseyes.
you
But
thought-
I was
you
just
thought they were
off
bullseye.
by just a hair.
Everything's the same size as the bullet.
Right.
So what kind of device do they use to measure that then?
They have a plug tool, it's a